One of the most emotional moments was when Cody Rhodes made Paul Heyman cry in the ring. This was really something nobody ever thought they'd see. Cody came out to address the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, and his road to face him at WrestleMania until he was interrupted by Paul Heyman. Cody referred to him as Mr. Heyman, and he told him why. He talked about how in the year 2000 that his family went broke and with only $100 in their bank account, and that his dad did local car commercials just to keep their car. Paul Heyman called his dad and said that ECW was in town, and if he just agreed to show up on camera that he would pay him very well, and that helped his dad get his confidence back. Cody even said that Paul showed him the way after he'd been doing things that he shouldn't have been doing. He ended up thanking Paul, and Paul started crying, which really moved the crowd to actually start chanting Paul's name. Another emotional time is when Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens finally succeeded in destroying the bloodline. Fans were already going through a roller coaster of emotions, as just in a matter of months, Kevin and Sami went from being bitter rivals to reuniting and heading towards WrestleMania. The main event match of WrestleMania night had it all: breathtaking action, a well-crafted storyline, and a satisfying climax. Towards the end, emotions ran high as Sami hit 3 hell-of-a kicks on his friend or enemy Jey Uso. The crowd erupted as the duo dethroned the longest-reigning tag team champions.
Cover the Bloodline!
Seeing Sami and Kevin with their bruised and red faces embracing each other after overcoming all the odds brought tears of joy to everyone. How did you feel about that moment? We all know that your partner is your best supporter, and Rey Mysterio became real emotional at his Hall of Fame speech when he acknowledged his wife. As he choked up, he said that she would work and send him money so he could pursue his dreams.
She was studying medicine at the time, and she literally put her medical career aside, got a job, and would send me money.
At number 21, Edge made his historic run to WWE after a 9-year absence due to a career-ending neck injury. After his abrupt retirement in 2011, the possibility of a comeback was uncertain. And guess what? Everything in the end paid off. The emotions on Edge's face spoke volumes about how much this moment meant to him, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that many fans found it impossible to hold back tears. Another really emotional time was during The Undertaker's final years as an in-ring competitor in WWE. The top of retirement surrounded him, and although he eventually retired after defeating AJ Styles at WrestleMania 36, there was one moment years ago that made fans believe the dead man was finished with wrestling. What had happened was after Roman Reigns eliminated The Undertaker at the 2017 Royal Rumble match, their clash was set for the main event of WrestleMania 33. And it was highly rumored that this would be the Taker's final match, so all eyes were focused on this bout. However, minutes into the match, The Undertaker appeared fragile and fatigued. After facing defeat in the end, The Undertaker symbolically left his gear in the ring. This moment was incredibly difficult to watch, with a loud "Thank you, Taker" chants echoing throughout the stadium. Although Taker would return to action a year later, there's no denying that this moment was emotionally painful. The one that might have hit fans hardest was Eddie Guerrero's death. Eddie Guerrero's death was tragic on so many levels that it left WWE in shambles for a few months. In the months following Eddie's passing, his friend Rey Mysterio received a significant push, and he went on to win the 2006 Royal Rumble. At WrestleMania 22, Rey competed in a triple threat match for Kurt Angle's World Heavyweight Championship, which also included Randy Orton. This was a fantastic championship match, and the night belonged to Mysterio. He covered Orton to secure his first world championship. The scene was emotional, and Mysterio celebrated with Eddie's widow, Vicky, and his nephew, Chavo.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, that if you dream hard enough, if you work hard enough.
Another time was in 2019. Kofi Kingston embarked on a roller coaster journey that saw him transition from a beloved mid-card wrestler to finally capturing the WWE Championship. Ironically, Kofi wasn't even slated to be part of the famous Elimination Chamber match that ultimately kicked off Kofi Mania, and it quickly turned into the biggest story of the year. To make this story more emotionally charged, WWE tried to put more obstacles in Kofi's way, such as those gauntlet matches that Kofi and the New Day had to endure. Ultimately, the match between Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston was set for WrestleMania 35. Just as expected, the fans went wild in this match as the quality was at high level. It was a feel-good moment, as the outpouring of love was felt by everyone.
Kofi did it! Kofi did it! Kofi did it! Kofi is champion!
Don't forget Roman Reigns has had an up-and-down relationship with WWE audiences. The one time that fans stood united with Roman was when he announced he was vacating the Universal Championship due to his battle with leukemia. The announcement left fans in tears, and even the biggest detractor of Reigns couldn't argue that his speech announcing the return of his cancer wasn't a heartbreaking moment. And if the announcement didn't bring someone to tears, the sight of Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose coming out to present a united front was the final straw, bringing not only the fans, but all three of them to tears. WWE rarely strings together storylines over multiple WrestleManias, but that was the case with The Undertaker's rivalry with Shawn Michaels and Triple H in 2012. The stakes were raised when the trilogy between Taker and Triple H would conclude in the Hell in a Cell, with Shawn Michaels serving as the special guest referee. After Triple H was defeated in the end, the trio came together at the entrance ramp, hugging each other to earn a standing ovation from the fans. To witness the history, rivalry, and friendship between them really moved fans to tears. No one could forget the famous phrase that Shawn Michaels uttered just before ending Ric Flair's legendary career. WWE would put out all the stops for Ric Flair's retirement ceremony, and just like there was a sea of emotion when Ric was defeated, the same was expected for the next night at Raw. On that night in 2008, the WWE gave one of the most emotional send-offs in wrestling history. Flair's friends and old opponents all made their way out to the ring to say their final farewells. However, one of the most shocking participants at the ceremony was none other than The Undertaker. He made his way out to the ring in a post-show segment. He hit his classic pose for the legend and then stood up to shake his hand and hug him. It was the first time that Undertaker allowed a different side of him to show on camera. No fan could hold back after hearing the story of late WWE fan Conor Michaelek. Conor was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 3, but never let his spirits down. He idolized Daniel Bryan and had the chance to meet him in 2012 and 13. Conor and his family were invited to be part of the WrestleMania 30 weekend after the company learned about his limited time. Before the go-home episode of Raw, WWE decided to organize a small segment for him. Prior to opening the doors to the show, members of the WWE roster surrounded the ring and cheered for Conor as he walked down the entrance ramp to the tune of his favorite wrestler, Daniel Bryan. He then entered the ring, punched Triple H in the face, and pinned him for the win. Conor lived long enough to witness the miracle on Bourbon and became the first person to hug Daniel Bryan after his win, but sadly, he passed away a few weeks later. In August 2023, the wrestling world was rocked by the devastating news of Bray Wyatt's passing. The untimely death sent shockwaves throughout the industry. On the next episode of SmackDown, WWE put together a touching tribute to Bray Wyatt, creating an atmosphere that seemed like the entire show was dedicated to honoring him. What made Bray Wyatt special was his resilience despite numerous ups and downs, whether being written off, losing and gaining followers, or spending extended periods off programming without apparent reasons. He consistently gave his best. His in-ring ability garnered respect, and his creative genius was something most people can only dream of having. So, it's understandable why it took fans a considerable amount of time to come to terms with Bray's departure. These were some very emotional moments. Let's shift it a little bit and check out this video of wrestlers who really hated each other, like Seth hated CM Punk when he decided to return.